in terms of business development strategies and so on. People want to know what's going on. People are always online. They are on their mobile phones or their computers or their tablets, searching for information. And when they search for development related issues, we want them to keep JBDC top of mind. We want them to not just Google, but to also come to the JBDC website at www.jbdc.net and find information relating to business development.
The information on the blog will be easy to understand so entrepreneurs can apply the lessons immediately.
So, for example, we started with the topic entrepreneurship trends to look out for in 2022, part one, which went into issues such as digital marketing, the fact that more than ever entrepreneurs need to heighten their visibility online through digital marketing strategies. We also took a look at booming industries.
The weekly blog will also complement the suite of training workshops offered to entrepreneurs.
Training comes in various forms. It doesn't have to be a workshop. A blog is a form of training. It is knowledge sharing. Knowledge sharing is big globally, and JBDC takes its role in that process very seriously because we do have several business development experts in the organization who are experts in product development, market access, research, business canvassing, and so on.
Entrepreneurs can look forward to new articles on the blog every Monday, and access is free to the public.
We have some interesting topics coming up looking at, for example, the Jamaican Entrepreneurs Startup Pack, the 5 lies small business people tell themselves, the case for agro-processing in Jamaica, so you'll see that it is serious and pertinent information, but with a lighter, more palatable twist. And persons who are subscribed to our mailing list will get it automatically when it's released.
The articles will also be shared on the JBDC social media pages.
If they follow us on LinkedIn, they will find the articles over there as well. LinkedIn is not just a place for job searching anymore. And we recognize that entrepreneurship is as good a career as any. And so JBDC is taking its place in that space and making its mark on LinkedIn. So you'll find these articles on there on a weekly basis, as well as other information about entrepreneurship that takes a spin as it relates to career development.
Corporate Communications Manager JBDC, Suzette Campbell. So, while you're building your business, be sure to add the JBDC's Entrepreneurship Weekly blog to your list of go-to resources whenever you need to stay up to date with the latest business development trends. To access the blog, visit jbdc.net.
The countdown begins. 2022 will be extra special. Reigniting. It's going to be big.
A production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Best FM. Keep listening.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
You can call us on 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Live the life. Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in.
Best 100 FM.
The Aeronautical School of the West Indies presents Squawk 876, a fun and informative program where you will learn about flying, aircraft systems, weather, maintenance, and much more. Tune in to Best 100 FM this and every Wednesday at 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
half a tree. One already, 200. Ready, mama? Ready. Is this the confusion you feel when trying to work your way through medical systems in Jamaica? Try a dose of Ask Dr. Mary every Thursday at 5 to 6 p.m. Let Dr. Mary help you understand your medical problems and bring you to a calmer place.
Just pay your dues, my friend. Dig my medical news. Oh, doctor, come to meet my patient. Oh, doctor, come to meet my patient. Oh, doctor.
Vegam Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vegam Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning and welcome back. So, we're together now, Pastor Percy and I. He is preparing to bring us into the throne room. I am preparing to bring us into the theater of war.
Theater of war, no. But into the throne room takes you into the presence where war happens in the heavenlies.
There you go. Yeah. So I know it was complementary activity.
Yeah, you know, as we reflect on the presentation you were making in regards to culture and the impact of it on cohesion within a society. That's how you would put it.
Yeah.
It's important that we understand that every good thing comes down from the Father of above, who gives us these gifts. And culture is part of that, because culture in its real sense is an expression of who you are as an individual, remembering that every single person has been created in the image and likeness of God. So which is why when you go around the world, you see expression of cultures that makes you smile. And it reminds me in the end when we get to heaven, and it says all nations, people from every kindred, tribe, and tongue. Can you imagine that worship experience? Can you just think about the worship experience that is happening at the very throne room? And worship happens through your culture. Go on, my dear lady. Just wanted to put that in.
Well, of course, once you start to speak, I said, what really was the first artistic expression ever? And it's the spoken word.
Yes. Yeah, worship.
Yeah.
Good.
We are told of creation that God spoke his creation into being. Yeah. So the first creative output from our uncreated creator
right.
was an expression of word. He spoke into being.
I know there's a art form called the spoken word.
Yes. Well, I mean, we're late to the party.
Yeah. Very late.
That is the original art form, really. So to wrap up, I am borrowing from the words and the thoughts of Professor Rex Nettleford, who was a favorite of mine, hands down favorite of mine, because and the reason he was a favorite of mine, may I just say, he had the finest intellect, and it did not stop him from dancing and choreographing and creating. Many times people think that intellectual folks are boring and stale in the imaginative department. And few of us recognize that great artistry comes from a refined intellect. Jamaica is paying for that bit of ignorance. We tend to think that the dancehall artists and those who are creating from the streets, we tend to think that they are illiterate, uninformed, and lacking in civility. We don't find a way to relate to their creative expressions and see the value and the beauty in it. And then, if you look at what happens in, say, North America, take, for example, someone like, I'm going to say Jay-Z, because his hairstyle is still just ringing a bell in my head. Take someone like Jay-Z. Or take even to say his name properly, you gotta get into the mood. So if I say 50 cents, I'm gonna evoke laughter. Take 50 cents. Did I get it? These are men from, let's say, the streets, in the sense that they're not Ivy Leaguers, and Jay-Z might be a secret Ivy Leaguer, but I know the other one is
creative, and yes, he's creative to make
look
money
what
for
these
himself.
men have done. They've come out of with their street music. They transitioned from performers into promoters and producers. Then they became international brands. Then they got into business, and they are powerhouses in the business. We frustrate our artists from making that kind of transition. When I remember, what's his name, Leroy Russell, Vybz Kartel, we see one path for them. They become famous in one way or another. They have popularity in the street, and somehow they end up being corralled. And I am saying corralled. They end up being corralled into a place of violence and antisocial behavior. And then we have a prison lined up for them. And there's one now lying in the hospital who may not even survive. Pastor Percy showed me that Jay-Z is currently worth 1.4 billion United States dollars. They exist in a society that has created opportunities for them to break out. On the other hand, we have our performers in some kind of box at the bottom of the ladder, where when they do things that are cute, we borrow it and bring it up the line, but we create no opportunities for them to break out. And that's what's on my mind this morning, that those in Jamaica who have the resources and the wherewithal to create these opportunities, to open these channels, we take it, we dominate it, we squeeze the juice out of it. We can't create a single thing, We are just constantly pulling from below until we exhaust and frustrate them. And against that background, I look at what Jamaica National is seeking to do. They are bringing together industrial professionals to talk reggae development. And I'm going to read this as it came to my spirit. It's a conversation we believe we are positioned to lead. How is Jamaica National positioned to lead a conversation on this subject matter?
I guess
we do suffer internally from the same kind of appropriation of cultural output that exists on the larger scale, where we see things Jamaican on TV in different countries, and Jamaica gets no benefit from it.
But they say they believe because they are trying to challenge of marketing Jamaican artists for the international reggae stage, music ownership, and royalties.
Well, listen, I'm not throwing shade at what Jamaica National is doing in and of itself.
Yeah.
What I would like is for them to be very conscious and careful of the fact that if they place themselves in a position of leadership in the conversation, it should be for the purpose of channeling resources into the sector to grow it. It's not to take it over. It's not to do what so many others do and overwhelm it with either a kind of structure and an approach that separates the artist from the value of his output. So he's like a cow giving milk. The cow gets no benefit from giving milk. When we take the milk and humans consume it, we don't send back anything to the cow.
Really?
We don't. Same like bees and honey. You take the output and it enriches your life going forward. And what you might do is create a dairy farm or and there's no value that goes back to the
So what I'm hearing
no different from enslavement.
What I'm hearing you say, my dear sister, is that you are glad that somebody's saying that there needs to be recognizing what you're saying, that there's an outlet and there needs to be a framework, because some of the times these artists
I'm not saying that.
But I'm putting that on the table.
Okay,
I'm putting that on the table.
Okay, you're saying that.
I'm putting that.
Right.
I'm trying
No
to
worries.
give them the benefit of the doubt, because they're recognizing, yes, we have this cultural art form that really has not broken into what it should be in terms of the resources and wealth coming back to the people who are the creator. Because in order, when you look at Jay-Z making 1.4 million, his net worth, billion dollars, he understood what he needs to do in order to make it work for him as an individual. What I'm hoping is that Jamaica National, which is a Jamaican company, true and true, said, we want to set up a framework for everybody who is involved in the industry to, as Jamaicans say, eat a food, come into the wealth that exists within it. And for them to break into the international market, they have to understand how it works. They
Well,
have to understand.
there is no shortage in Jamaica right now today.
Yeah.
There is no shortage of Jamaican entertainers and professionals who know how it works.
Really?
There is no shortage of it. You know that. We sit with Maxine. We've been sitting with her for 3-4 weeks
Well-
going now. There's no shortage of it. What is lacking? What is lacking is the capital to allow those with the knowledge
Somebody
to
kept that there.
participate hands-on in getting the structure alive and creating an industry out of it. Why I am saying to Jamaica National, be very careful in how you're proceeding, is because this is what they're doing. They talk about the shuttering of the industry, but I'm going to read to you who they're bringing together. The Reggae Symposium will feature presentations from international professionals such as management mogul Dave Miller, former Def Jam, Sony Music and Atlantic Records executive, has worked closely with superstars such as Jay-Z, Bruno Mars, and Mariah Carey. Miller has been steadily developing some of the biggest urban acts into global superstars for the last 20 years. They're going with
Marketing.
no, I'm moving on from Miller to Chrissy Barber, Grammy-nominated music producer Chrissy Barber, who will be speaking to participants on the topic, Want to Win a Grammy? The steps towards international recognition. Barber has been co-chair of the Reggae Grammy Screening Committee for 12 years and has served as president of the Marley family-owned labels, Tough Gong and Ghetto Youths International, while at Def Jam Universal. She has produced music for Jay-Z, Pharrell, and Damian Jr., Gong Marley, and has also held positions. She's also a former vice president of marketing at VP Records. Minister of Culture, Entertainment, Gender and Sport, Olive Grange, will lead off discussion on the evening with a look at creating a framework for the growth of our music. And then JN Group Brand Ambassador Aiden Sisko, entertainment lawyer Ron Young, who read general manager of JN. All right, that is sort of the lineup. And the only reason I mention it is that in Littleford's commentary, some attention was given to the appropriation of the cultural output of the lower class by the middle and other classes, and off it goes. The group that produces, laboring community that produces it, is left estranged from the process, and it is the process that creates value.
Okay.
The lineup that I see here is another move towards the same kind of divorce. You have the children down there, give them to me, I will take them to the world. And you continue to be down there as a kind of broodmare. Do you know what a broodmare is? You do? You have good farming knowledge, man.
I know what a broodmare is.
Right. And I see a perpetuation of the same,
so that
and
is
I'm
the sense that
concerned
you're
about
getting
it.
in terms of. All right, but all right, okay. We agree that one of the challenges is that the knowledge is agreed position that the knowledge is not there that enables the producers to earn rewards from it. What would you suggest in regards to this, and in terms of putting two things?
Yeah. Well,
what would you suggest?
You see, the 1660 idea of creating capacity within communities and nurturing it to grow. That is just one template. You know, it is the template that was used to create a nation out of a group of ex-slaves. It's the same template. You must build it from within. And you who have the resources outside, your job is to place it into the womb, into the cradle, into the egg. Wherever you are seeking to create wealth and to grow it, you have to make that injection. You don't pull up what you want from the nest and go off to build elsewhere. There's only one template for successful organic growth. You have to put something within. It's how we were created. Our Creator made us with something within, and we must nurture it and give it full expression. If we're looking on seeing a nascent industry needing shaping guidance, we have to put something within and let it flourish and grow.
Is it only capital?
No, it's.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. What are the inputs outside of the capital?
Don't get a full answer from me on that. There are many experts who can give it that.
All right then. Okay, I'm just asking because we speak. I'm just saying no. We understand that those are the issues. So the question now is, what is that we need to apply? You talk about capital. What are other things that we need to put into that mix that will move it forward? That it becomes really ours. That the bottom line is that everybody. I'm hearing you saying that everybody must flourish. My word, flourish must prosper from their own input and thing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yesterday, as we spoke about how to create your own community-based organization, I did not know that in the paper was an article on what's been happening in Denham Town.
Yes,
using the same
Zozo?
No, the European funding mechanism that we spoke about with JSIF for poverty eradication. So I wanted to mention it today because this article went into some detail of what has been. There's a breakdown of the resources that have been put into Denham Town. So, it's to give you an idea of what has gone into Denham Town. But the main reason I am looking at it is to identify, if we can, the extent to which we are seeing signs of success. 6,178 residents have benefited from a certain level of investment in this community. The zone of special operation is not just a policing and law enforcement exercise. Concomitant with that effort is some degree of infrastructure and social investment. Denham Town is a study. 6,178 residents have been beneficiaries of 7.8 kilometers of roads paved and completed. So when I said that communities can look at their infrastructure and make a project out of it and advocate for this level of investment, Denham Town received it. 1,020 households are now receiving water lateral pipes. What are those?
You move you put it into the person's house. So instead of using a standpipe, you make a connection to the water.
So 1,020 households receive running water
inside the house. Right.
96 households have gained access to NWC sewage treatment. 1,338 students have benefited from Denham Town safe passages. I take it they're able to move.
That happened in the Maxfield Park here. Yeah. So what they do is put signage, pave sidewalks, put up railings, so the children don't run out into the road. And that's
what the safe passage is. It includes our school, Edward Seager Primary School.
Yes, right. When you go, you see before the sidewalks weren't done, so they paved them, they put up railings, they have the personal guard, so you know that it is an area that children are running up and down.
All right. 750 residents of Pink and Chestnut Lanes are to benefit from water and a sewage rectification project. Expansion to school buildings to include early childhood development school and a primary school. Rehabilitation of the Denham Town police station. So you who have your police station where termites eat it down and you're struggling to even have a decent place for your policemen to operate from, that can be your project. On the social investment side, they've given benefits to 1,062 individuals. It includes 48 enterprise grants, 137 livelihood participants, which is training and skills development. 654 residents received their birth certificate. So even something like that in your community, you know that
significant don't have
people are not properly documented, don't have birth certificate, don't have TRN. They've trained 28 curfew monitors. So this now is self-regulation occurring at the community level. 75 environmental workers trained and employed. Not sure what they do, but still, you can get training. What do environmental workers do?
Make sure that they put in skiffs, and ensure that people are using them and they're cleaning the areas properly. And they understand what they
300 students are benefiting from summer camp activities. So if you've noticed that the kids in your neighborhood now have nothing to do after school and during holidays, you can create a project that does something in that area. No, I'm not hearing. Go ahead, my brother.
A lot of these things that they've done so I'm wondering if they're double counting.
Maybe. But the fact of the matter is, when you listen to the kinds of benefits, you must be able to see something that you could borrow from and do in your community. Those activities were funded with the help of European Union partners, but overall, upwards of $100 million has been spent within the zone so far.
$100 million US dollars or $100 million Jamaica?
Must be Jamaican.
I'm just being facetious.
No. Yeah. One of the strategies we are using in the zones of special operations is to improve the assets of community resources. That is a statement, I guess, from someone whose name I'm not picking up readily. But I thought I'd share it with you because we're talking about recapturing communities as a part of what we do with our 60 and 60. And it's very much in the vein of what needs to be done and what has been recognized as a need. It's been addressed in Denham Town. What is the current profile of Denham Town? Has it changed? And this is not a project that started, last month, or some of these initiatives were
on the ground already.
On the ground, and it has taken some time. I remember the rehabilitation of the police station. That was a big one. We're not reaping the fruit of it yet, but I dare say it's early days. Still, I believe that we can get much better results from these kinds of initiatives when they come out of the community's own efforts and yeah. You want a high five?
Yes. Yeah. That is what it is about. Yeah. If it's going to be sustained, that is what it must be.
So as we motivate you to look within and come up with your project and start your own thing, I declare that it will be abundantly successful with way less than $100 million.
That's our project. We own it.
Yes. We own it. All right. It's time for a break. And then when we come back, we're shifting into that higher space. All right. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-63. One 3400 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
2, 3, believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
Half a tree, one and drive, half a tree. Bossy, away I do I take taxi star?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, me
Call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to for the boss. Just tell him I'm me, send you.
You big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Try calling, cause trust me.
Winters Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
What a relief.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love this station. I think it's great.
It's my station.
Moving.
This is my station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Best FM, keep listening.
Melody in my voice. Kemisha plays the music nice. Melody in my voice. Kemisha full of vibes. Best FM run the town. Yes, I run the town, hear me loud and clear. They run the country and the town, or the far and near. Bless the love into to Empress Kemisha. On Best FM, and it's all about the reset, you know. Mondays to Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. On Best FM, keep it locked. This is Warrior King, the Black Emperor. Come on, tune in.
Greetings. Bitter Sugar returns to Best FM. Wednesdays, 6 to 8 p.m. Tune in as we put forward Bitter Sugar. Yes, your host, Brother Miguel Lorne, as we ride. This is education, African fundamentalism, purity of the race, self-reliance, repatriation. These are topics we're going to go into. Tune in, Best FM, as we put forward Bitter Sugar once more.
Isn't it strange how princesses and kings?
Vejan Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vejan Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning to you as we come to do our usual prayer, and I'm continuing to thank my brother who suggested it to us a long time ago, and it has become a staple. And we've actually seen, in terms of what we've been praying about, what we've been declaring, we've seen it being manifested in the society in terms of change and what we're saying, even the declarations, and that has become a staple of what we do and say in regards to what we do and say here at the program. So I invite you to continue to engage with us, but not only engage with us, engage with your God in terms of agreeing with us, because it says if two or more agree touching anything, God is in the middle of what we are doing. And you've been hearing me quoting Isaiah 40 and verse 31, and that is a theme that they that wait up on their God shall renew their strength. They will mount up with wings as eagle. They'll run and not be weary. They will walk and not fear. And so we continue to beseech, go into the very throne room and say, God, you got to do something. We're standing upon your word for this nation. And so may the hosts of heaven arise with us every single day and fight on our behalf. presented, let them take counsel together. Who foretold this long ago? Who declared it from the distant past? Was it not I, the Lord? And there's no God apart from me, a righteous God and a Savior. There's none but me. Turn to me and be saved, all you ends of the earth. By myself I have sworn, my mouth has uttered in all integrity a word that will not be revoked. Before me every knee will bow, by me every tongue will swear. They will say of me, in the Lord alone are deliverance and strength. All who have raged against him will come to him and be put to shame. But the descendants of Israel will find deliverance in the Lord and will make their boast in him. And so, God, we continue to declare over this nation that you are our God. You are our God. You are a God of righteousness, of justice, of mercy, and truth. And we declare that over Jamaica land we love. We thank you that even now a shift has happened and continue to happen in the 7 pillars of our nation. The 7 pillars of our nation. In governance, in justice, in education, in entertainment, in industry. The pillars of our nation that cause us to thrive and to flourish as a nation. And today we declare over this nation that crime and violence will decrease and will continue to decrease. We speak to the principalities and the powers behind, but we speak today to the heart of men in this nation. Because only if the hearts are changed will we begin to see a change and a shift in terms of corruption. And so we speak, Lord, to the nation, to the princes of this nation, and we make a declaration today again.
We decree and we declare that every Jamaican man, woman, child shall increase in knowledge of self and of the one true God, such that the divine creative power to prosper and excel shall be unlocked in this generation and for generations to come. We decree and we declare that the hearts of our leaders and their bowels of compassion be opened to hear the cry of the people and to respond with love, generosity, and respect. We decree and we declare that the ordinary men and women in communities across this land will become families that work together in harmony to assure the well-being of all members, giving special care to our children, our elders, our women, and those with disabilities of any kind.
We decree and declare, indeed, from Nigri Point to Moran Point, a tsunami of love is emerging across this nation. That men and women will truly care for each other, that indeed we will become our brother's keepers. And we decree and declare that out of a tsunami of love, that indeed economic prosperity and well-being will become reality for every Jamaican, that it will not only be for those who are in the top 10%, but for Jamaicans, that indeed things like the minimum wage will become a livable wage for every Jamaican in society because of shared prosperity in this nation. We decree and declare that a revival is breaking out in terms of us returning to the tenets of our nation, in terms of our founding fathers. And we decree and declare that because of this tsunami of love and care, that crime and violence is going on. That we will respect life because we fear God. We will choose not to be corrupt because we fear you, Father. We choose to not kill our brothers because of the almighty dollar. That the love of money will not drive us, or the love of mammon. We decree and declare over this nation, as you have said in Psalms 89 and 14, that righteousness and justice are your throne, that indeed mercy and truth go before you. We decree and declare over our nation that indeed all nations of this world will come to this country to see what you are doing, because there's been a change and a shift in our heart. We thank you that indeed the scourge of COVID has been broken. We see in terms of what has happened with the removal of the restrictions and the opening up of schools and businesses, because indeed we thank you, God, that Jamaica is rising again to become a shining star, not only in the Caribbean, but in the rest of the world. And we decree and declare that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, prosperity, and play her part in advancing the welfare of the whole nation. Let the hosts of heaven come down and fight for us. We come against strongholds. You knew them, Father. We come against them and we destroy them. We send the fire of God against them, and we will see what they are doing when the gangs are destroyed. and the powers behind them are destroyed and are exposed, that indeed the light of God is going and exposing the darkness on the belly of this nation. We decree and declare that Jamaica indeed is rising up out of darkness, because the light of God has come.
I see you wondering why me in the midst of your adversity. But if you dare trust in me, I will supply all you need. I will take you over. I will take you over. I will never leave. To you I will cleave. I'm standing right there in the midst of your fair. I will be your brother, man. Take off to me, my son. It's already done. It's already done. The victory is won. I will not die here, even though I cry. The victory is won. It's already done. I am right. I have to not why me. Why they took my family. Oh, yeah. And when the world is falling on my shoulders, yes, I fall on my knees. Whoa, Lord, take me over. Please take me over. Please do not leave to you.
not known? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow weary or tired, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. The power of the weak.
And I repeat the declaration for our 60 in 60 initiative. I decree and I declare that the ordinary men and women in communities across this land will become families that work together in harmony to assure the well-being of all members, giving special care to our children, our elders, our women, and those with disabilities of any kind.
Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. And so, Father, we declare a rising in every community in this nation. We have said 1660, but indeed there are 63 constituencies. And so we declare that in every constituency there's a rising, there's an uprising of persons who are taking responsibility for themselves, for their families, for their communities, for this nation. We thank you indeed as they come up with a project in terms of lifting up their community. They will not grow faint or despair. They will wait on you, because indeed in that way you will renew their strength and you'll cause those programs to become sustainable, to bring about real change and progress in our nation. We give you thanks. We give you thanks for what you continue to do in this nation. For the light is rising up. Darkness is being dispelled in every nook and cranny, in every area that people are seeking to hide to do their deeds of evil. Let your light shine. Let exposure continue to happen. Let hearts continue to be changed to fear you, the one true and only God. And indeed, as Christ declared, you cannot serve God and mammon. Cause every man, every woman, every child, every person in this nation truly to serve you and fear you. And indeed, in that process, we see the change beginning to happen. A tsunami of love, of respect, of honor rising up in our nation. We give you thanks, even now. Amen. 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 So we just continue. Lord, just thank you for what you're doing. We are seeing the sparks. We're seeing the sparks. We're seeing the sparks. But we see a fire of love spreading across this nation. A fire of love and care. And out of that will arise the revival, the change, the common flourishing and prosperity that will happen in this nation. We give you thanks. We give you thanks. We give you praise. We give you honor indeed, because you are good and great and awesome. You watch it in the affairs of men. And even it is said in Daniel that indeed you are watching and you speak the things. So we thank you. We thank you. We give you thanks. We give you praise. We honor you in our nation today.
All right. As you were speaking, Pastor Percival, I saw two things that I want to share. I saw a 1660 t-shirt. So I'm going to speak to my friends who are in the business. I even saw it. It has a map of Jamaica in the center, 60 above and 60 below Jamaica. I saw a t-shirt. So you need to get me a t-shirt, please, sir. Producer, I need a t-shirt.
You need a t-shirt, 1660.
I need my 1660 t-shirt. And I saw another thing. I saw us going to the PTAs with the 1660 initiative and having school children being a part of initiating projects. So those are two things that I think we need to use the PTAs, and I know you're a big PTA man.
That's important. Any change that happens in the country happens with the
and I need my 60 t-shirt. So whoever's listening and is in business and wants to partner with us, I know these are two opportunities that we're going to get with 1660.
Yeah, so any change that happens in a country happens with the energy of the youth.
Absolutely.
You have to see that, you twin that with the wisdom of the elders, and that is where true change happens. And it is significant to know that with the children of Israel, those who came out of Egypt, which is a land of limitations, and we're moving into the promised land, which is the land where there are no limitations, that generation died because they would not believe. And only two people were left, Joshua and Caleb, and they had the strength of the youth in order to go in and possess the promised land.
For a break. When we come back, remember we're speaking to Senator Floyd Morris. We're just going to get him lined up for us to have a conversation with him, because it's no man left behind, and those amongst us with disability of any kind whatsoever have to be fully integrated into our society. And it's not just about passing of the law, it is now the changing of things on the ground. Culturally, we've got to make that shift so we are truly inclusive. So please stay with us. We'll be right back, and when we come back, Senator Morris should be online with us.
We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Neil Nunes with the BBC News. Ukraine is to impose a state of emergency and has urged its citizens to leave Russia as the government in Kiev steps up its response to what it calls intensified aggression from Moscow. The emergency declaration by the National Security and Defense Council needs parliamentary approval. More from Danny Eberhard.
For weeks, Ukraine's government has been telling its citizens not to panic in the face of the threat from Russia. That advice has not changed, but there's been a noticeable shift amid fears that Moscow could be planning a wider invasion, having announced it's recognizing as independent areas of eastern Ukraine controlled by Russian-backed separatist rebels. The Secretary of Ukraine's Security Council said emergency measures would be preventative to ensure the country remained calm and that the economy continued to function.
President Putin has warned that the security of Russia and its citizens are paramount and says he'll continue to boost the power of the military. But Mr. Putin has said he remains open to diplomacy. He made the comments to mark a public holiday called Defender of the Fatherland Day.
Our country is always open for direct and honest dialogue for the search of diplomatic solutions to the most complex problems. But I repeat, the interests of Russia, the security of our citizens are non-negotiable for us.
The White House has said the tentative plans for a summit between President Biden and Vladimir Putin have been scrapped. The U.S. Secretary of State has also called off a planned meeting with his Russian counterpart. The administration says such talks cannot take place until tension over the Ukraine crisis is eased. More countries, including Japan and Australia, have announced sanctions against Moscow. In other news, fewer babies were born in South Korea last year than since records began. The country is facing a demographic crisis, as Will Leonardo now reports.
South Korea's fertility rate is thought to be the lowest in the world. It's significantly lower than other developed countries struggling with declining populations, such as Japan. These new figures for the pandemic year of 2021 will be worrying for South Korea's government, which is encouraging people to start families through cash handouts. The authorities in the capital, Seoul, recently announced parents would receive vouchers worth $1,600 per newborn on top of national benefits. Analysts suggest the money may be needed. They say economic uncertainty and rising house prices are among the main reasons South Koreans aren't having children.
Rio Tinto, the world's second largest mining company, has posted record earnings of more than $20 billion after a year of soaring commodity prices and strong demand from China. The Anglo-Australian firm announced its highest ever dividend for shareholders. World news from the BBC. New figures show that the maternal mortality rate in the United States, already the worst among industrialized countries, has risen to its highest level in 50 years, with black women 3 times more likely to die than white women. Experts put the main difference down to the greater availability in other industrialized countries of universal health care during pregnancy. Hackers have retaken control of more than 30 government websites in Mozambique. On Monday, the authorities said they had repelled an attack, but a group called Yemeni hackers said they were now in charge of sites, including that of Mozambique's Defense Ministry and Water Agency. The hackers posted a message demanding a ransom within 24 hours. The Sri Lankan government says it's managed to pay about $35 million for a shipment of diesel as the country struggles with power cuts caused by a fuel shortage. The country needs around 4,000 tons of diesel every day to run its power plants, and the fuel shortage has led to prolonged power cuts. A team of archaeologists from Jordan and France has unearthed a 9,000-year-old shrine in the eastern Jordanian desert. The ritual complex is nestled in a Neolithic campsite near large structures known as desert kites. Lepika Pelham has more details.
These stone enclosures are mass traps that are often found scattered across the deserts of the Middle East. They consist of 2 or more long stones and were used to corral wild gazelles for slaughter. The researchers said the shrine is remarkably intact. Within it, perfectly preserved, are standing stones. Carvings on them depict human-like figures. There's also an altar, a hearth, marine shells, and a miniature model of a gazelle trap. Archaeologists say this shows that local inhabitants were skilled hunters.
BBC News.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Splash FM, keep listening.
One in. A hurricane we name. Are we rough? Whether we are man hurricane or woman hurricane. We want you know that. We come here to mash up building, blow down things and take life. Flood out place. We no ramp. We no respect no one. So no take no chance with we. Listen to Adprem and prepare. Hurricanes do happen, so be prepared. Yes, be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Live the life. Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in.
Best 100 FM.
Ready, mama. Ready. Is this the confusion you feel when trying to work your way through medical systems in Jamaica? Try a dose of Ask Dr. Mary every Thursday at 5 to 6 p.m. Let Dr. Mary help you understand your medical problems and bring you to a calmer place.
Just pay your dues, my friend. Take my medical news. Oh, doctor, come to meet my patient. Oh, doctor, come to meet my patient.
Hello there. Yes, indeed. This is the prophet, Reverend Mark Stewart, inviting each and every one of you to join us for war. It's gonna be a war this and every Wednesday. Of course, it's gonna be hot. It's gonna be powerful. Come for the word. Come for the preaching. Come for the teaching. Of course, the music. And of course, midnight warfare prayer with me, the prophet Mark Stewart, the boss shot, Apostle Marshall, Reverend Eric Box, and of course, Reverend Kathy and Tane. For the hard way. Join us every Wednesday night from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. Come and join us. Will you? Sponsored by all our partners, our friends of the ministry. Will you join us? Yes, indeed. It's going to be powerful. This and every Wednesday, 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. We're going to lick it till the bus gone. We're going to lick it till the bus gone. We're going
Veg and Prince Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vijay Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back to the Morning Connection, and thank you all for staying with us and for participating in the session of prayer. As you saw or heard, Pastor Percival finished up with some very specific entreaties concerning our 1660 project, for which I have now seen the T-shirt and a specific inclusion of school children as a part of what we're doing. So you see it continues to grow. And I am grateful to the input from one of our callers. Neville yesterday made a suggestion which we've been, it was very much in line with some other initiatives currently underway. But the specific suggestion that he made about creating a space for the committed Best FM family listeners to participate, we took it to management.
Yes.
Oh, you left before we took it to management. Yeah, you had to leave, but we went and we sat down to have a conversation about the Morning Connection Best FM Trust.
Okay.
And making space for listeners to participate by way of their giving through whether it's cash or services. And I tell you, Neville's comment that he is able to tutor in 12 different disciplines. I'm sure it woke up a recognition in many other listeners of the ways in which they can also contribute. So I'm excited by it. It has got it gained approval yesterday. So I'll just figure out the legal pieces to bring it to life. So there will be a trust. You missed that conversation yesterday.
There will be a trust that we trust in.
Trust. A trusting trust. All right, we are trying to get Senator Floyd on the line. So far we're getting voicemail. If we're not able to reach him in good time, Percival and I are going to move forward and we just schedule that conversation. I have still been searching for the regulations. They haven't been posted in the Jamaica laws online. And if anyone has it, send it to myself or Pastor Percival.
We're going to check again with my source because it should have come to us.
Yes, I really am not understanding the delay in it. It's not promising, but you know what? Many times these things start off with some signs of weakness, and those weaknesses become great strengths because it causes everybody to redouble their effort to make sure that it doesn't fall to the ground. There was an editorial in, I think, a recent publication of the Gleaner. Was it yesterday or maybe on the weekend? But there was an editorial speaking to the very issue that with a piece of legislation passed in 2014, Parliament itself had not taken the steps to bring the wheelchair.
The one running rampant.
They had 7 years in which to have some.
That it was going to happen.
Yeah. And that's not a promising sign. But again, I thought, you know what? Let us then take very special care of this child that seemed to have come into a world that is unprepared for it. By our own act, we set in being. Just much the same way parents will have children and treat them as though they were unwanted when we were the ones who set in motion the chain of events that bring them here. So sometimes it has a rocky beginning, but others see it and make a determined effort to give it a more prosperous.
That reminds me of 1 Chronicles 4, 9 and 10 with the prayer of Jabez. When it said of him, his mother gave him the name Jesus. It says, you brought me in pain. You brought me in pain. You brought me in pain. But then he made a declaration because he made some recognition about who God was, and he prayed and God for him. He said, "Oh, if you remove this pain and enlarge my borders." And what happened to him was the Lord heard his prayer and enlarged his borders. And your borders represent your sphere of influence. So we are making a declaration over this Disabilities Act of 2014 that even though it has been birthed in pain, we are crying out on its behalf that its sphere of influence and impact in society will increase, will grow, and people understand it to become so much a part of our culture that people recognize that the people are not disabled, they're otherwise able. and make space for them to thrive and grow in our society.
Or as I'm determined to call it, they are rightly abled for a specific purpose. And we must partner with them in identifying that purpose and prepare them for that purpose, because that is the role of the human family, to prepare each other for purpose. Now, I saw an article which caused me to reach over and grab the physical paper, much to the horror of the producer, who is forever mindful of the live stream. It is a Rastafarian, L. Lewis Brown. The headline says, Rastafarians call for an end to institutionalized discrimination. Janet Silvera article in today's edition of the Gleaner. Citing institutionalized discrimination by the state, the Coral Gardens Benevolent Society, a Rastafarian organization, is calling on the Jamaican government to immediately take steps to establish a written policy condemning all forms of prejudice against the minority group. The society, which has oversight responsibility for the surviving victims of the 1963 Coral Garden incident, which saw a brutal government-sanctioned crackdown against Rastafarians, said that they continue to experience grave acts of victimization and injustice over the past 5 years, which they believe warrants a government response. Speaking on behalf of the group, renowned Rastafarian Elder Lewis Brown, who was central to the negotiations which culminated in the Andrew Holness-led government apologizing to the Rastafarian community in April 2017 for the 1963 Coral Garden incident, said agents of the state are again taking discriminatory action against them. Listing a series of recent incidents, the organization pointed to reports of the alleged forced trimming of a young man at the Gordon Town police station. That incident is before the court as the youngster's parents are locked in a legal battle with the state. There was also a report of an alleged trimming of the precept's beard of an elderly Rastafarian at the Livingston Hospital in St. Catherine. His family is also seeking justice through the local courts. They also cited the incident in which a young girl with dreadlocks hairstyle was reportedly turned away from a school in St. Catherine. Her parents sought justice through the legal system. However, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of that school's principal. The latest incident that has drawn the ire of the Rastafarian community is the ongoing situation with Nzinga Candice King, who claimed her locks were trimmed by a policewoman at the Four Paths police station in Clarendon. The office of the DPP subsequently ruled against criminal charges being brought against the police officer accused of doing the trimming. Brown also spoke to the need for government to craft a policy to put an end to the barring of locks-wearing Rastafarian children from attending educational institutions. And the article continues. I would read out, but it's somewhat lengthy.
So you're looking for a policy?
Yes, I wanted to share as much of it as we could, but I'm just concerned. What difference will a policy make?
A policy drives
because that policy already exists, you know, it is reflected in the Constitution.
Law. We probably need to put it up and write it in the police station in the school.
And the truth is, it is highlighting need for a better structure for prosecuting violations of constitutional rights. You know, my view is that we need a constitutional court that is open every day to regular people who can just go in and state their have access to the court. It is too hard right now. Look at how many things are under litigation.
And notice what has happened in the period that it has happened.
Yeah. The only thing that got, well, one would say, it seems that the only thing they get with speed is a no. DP says no charges. Indica says no violation of rights. Not even disciplinary proceedings seems to be underway for how this young lady, Miss King, was treated. I don't think it is a question of policy, but I guess you have to ask for something.
Culture.
You have to ask for something. Again, you know, it comes back to how do we, as the ordinary Jamaican, how do we feel about these things?
How do we respect other people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to suggest, yes, that we open the lines and take a few calls before we get to the 8:30 break. But I remain concerned that this issue of discrimination continues to be so live.
Yeah.
And you know, we're at a time in our history, our development, where we know better. We know better.
And we should do better.
The discrimination that used to, and we know that is a state issue, because I do not believe that as between Jamaican and Jamaican on the street, that Rastafarians are feeling disrespected and discriminated.
No, man, they're still feeling it, man.
Good morning. Welcome to the morning section.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
I'm okay so far. Yeah. 1660, explain to me what it is, please.
1660, okay.
Okay, but you need to turn on your radio for me, or have you done so? I was hearing it in the background.
Yeah, I know. I just walk away from it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
1660, you know, Jamaica has been under her own flag for 60 years.
Yes.
And so the Morning Connection on its own we have said that we want to acknowledge that experience by inviting 60 communities across the island to examine what's happening in their communities, take a decision that each community wants to change something on the ground that will give community a more prosperous outlook and future. And we will partner with those communities to bring that into reality. But a very important part of how we do it is that the community must be prepared to engage in prayer as a part of making the change. So churches in the community, the members of the community who are people of faith, must be prepared to specifically invite their creator into the process with them so that they have both the spiritual backing and then in the natural, they have the resources that are required to make the change. We have explained that the members who communities who want to do this, you need to walk through your community, take a picture of your environment so we see what it is that you are looking at and living with every day. And that I'd call it now photo journal will be something that you use later on to compare to see what advances you've made.
So basically what you do is look at what resources, what the needs are within and do an assessment.
Yes.
Put it right across, put it together, and then where we start from, which is the one that is most needed.
Yes.
So you already have to say start with 10 people. Which give them it.
Okay, all
All right, brother. Where calling us from? The community. Your town.
Yes, exactly. Above Street.
All right, but where that is?
It is above Lindsay. You know, if you know Windalco.
Yes, I know where it is. I know where your town is. Yeah, man.
So as you make the inquiry, my brother, I should just say, your community can be the street on which you live.
Yes,
it doesn't have to be the whole, absolutely. It don't have to be the whole town in which you live. Just the area where you feel that sense of family. And you would say, this is my community. These are the people I live and move amongst. And I want to see something change.
Yes, and you start right here.
And you start right, and let it spread. Oh, you're speaking my language.
So we know what's happening.
Yeah.
All right.
One of the things that I wanted to look at, you see when I have community organization sometimes, there's one out there.
Yes.
That can be gotten
right.
to utilize.
Absolutely.
Sometimes the organizations, don't know when some of these grants are out there, especially when they come into government. And the government not opening up the eyes of the people, some of the grants that can help.
All true. All true. And that is one of the when we partner with you on it, that is the role that we can play, where we bring the information, we bring the people, the personnel, those who know where the money is, what to do, how to go about qualifying, and we put that together with the community-based organization. Yes.
And persons who can help write the grants.
Absolutely,
right.
yes.
You get to the idea, my brother.
Yes.
So I'm just speaking to you to help you. Family plan.
Yes, man, I love it. I love it.
FBC is supposed to really work that way. Sometimes they don't pay attention. But maybe because you're coming on board now, they will work a little more. They're not coming and organizing communities as they're supposed to do, more than the usual again. Everybody has to technical assistance.
Right. But we are trying to encourage community members, even from a point of ignorance where you don't know what resources are available, just to wake up that desire within, to say, I'm not satisfied with how things look. I want to do something about it. And sometimes it is that native desire which then brings to you the other pieces that can make it possible.
Draw resources.
Because it is what really will have to drive the politician in because whenever we are doing something and it's highlighted by the media, then the government will know that they should play their part and they will have to come on board.
Yes. Very well said, my brother. I thank you.
Yeah, because at the moment I know that sometimes, maybe in the next couple of months, there will be maybe 10 million US land to do some planting in Jamaica, which will be ginger, turmeric, egg.
So you?
How do we find ways and means to get persons organized because they want to organize groups?
Yes, and that is right.
Yes. And so we need now to help from get persons to organize to be on board with something like this because we need to look at food security and move out.
Yes. So are you going to participate in this with us because you sound like you're already well on board with that approach?
Yeah, man, I am on board because I'm part of a farmers co-op that we have registered. We just want to check out the nitty out right now because sometimes we come together, do the thing, and then all of a sudden we get bad man and match up and we. But we have to restructure and get going forward.
All right, leave the number with the engineer so we can talk after. All right?
All right.
And as a man would say in Jamaica, we burn in bad mind. We burn bad mind.
We put the fire to it.
All right.
Yes,
all right, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that is a wonderful start.
Yes.
Absolutely. Conrad, I know you're on the road driving and you want us to wake you up. All right, we just burn a small fire against bad mind. I hope that warmed you somewhat. Yeah, that is an excellent start to the morning. Truth to power. He says, Mr. Producer, please have them pay attention to the messages of the people on YouTube. I am apologizing. We got so deep in the... All right, let's see. Truth to Power has made a few comments here. Well, the first one, he says, good morning. Can you tell us how many countries still maintain a nightly curfew? I don't know how many, come to think of it. I know Jamaica just moved to midnight.
Most countries have removed it. Have removed mandate. England just move everything. Boom. Everything out through the window.
Yeah, well, I don't know. The Prime Minister is shy. He's doing it in small steps at a time. And why are funerals still not being allowed on weekends? Funerals are not allowed on weekends?
No, just Monday to Friday.
Oh, really? Oh, I see.
But you joke about it. Let me tell you, if you're going to a funeral that is on the weekend, I think the people are still coming.
Same thing.
The last funeral that I did, I wanted today. Bus loads of people turned up.
What's this with the weekend thing?
I don't know.
It make a difference?
I don't know. You need to explain logic.
Right.
Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, my brother?
Well, with the Rasta situation that they still having problem over the years.
Yeah.
You know what? One of the main reasons when I investigate, when I was a youth, it was mostly Christian that hate Rasta. Did you know that?
No, I don't know that. Go ahead.
Yeah, me I tell you, because Rasta say, Selassie are God.
Yeah,
that was the main reason why they didn't like them.
But it's so funny to hear the word Christian and hate in the same sentence.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but a lot of Christians are hateful and wicked.
You sound like one of them.
Christian.
All right, Santa, go on.
You hear that so-called Christian? You know what that means?
Yes.
All right. And I see some of the people in this country being advertised. They're so dirty and they're promoting them. They're getting a life, you know. I see we hear one president call one of them his name and he like his name, and the president have to pay $9 million for calling his name.
Okay, what's that?
Huh?
What are you talking about?
All right, can we take the break? Sorry, Santa, you know you always call at the break time, so please stay online. We're coming back.
We'll be right back.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales for a better choice.
That makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
It's my station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Best FM, keep listening.
Ready, mama. Ready. Is this the confusion you feel?
Take my medical news. Oh, doctor, come to meet my patient. Oh, doctor, come to meet my patient.
Melody in our voice. Kemisha plays the music nice. Melody in our voice. Kemisha full of vibes. Best FM run the town, yes I run the town, hear me loud and clear. They run the country and the town, or the far and near. Bless the love to Empress Kamisha on Best FM, and it's all about the reset, you know. Mondays to Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. on Best FM. Keep it locked. This is Warrior King, the Black Emperor. Come on, tune in.
Vegam Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vegam Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning and welcome back. Caller number one. Continue, my brother.
Yes. Like I was saying, didn't you know about the incident where that president have to pay $9 million?
Which president? In a different country?
Pastor, you're supposed to know that. In this country,
president. I don't remember.
President of a sport foundation.
No, I don't know about it.
Yes, he was sued.
Because somebody used his name?
No, he called a personal name.
Okay.
A defamatory name?
Well, that's what they say.
But you don't agree that it was defamatory? Was it descriptive in your view?
It's a name that we call those people from I was a child.
Oh, you mean
those people that wear pretty clothes. Now you get me clearer?
All right.
All right. Go ahead.
All right. So, what is your point? What's your point, though? That
what I'm saying, those people are well protected, and Rasta is still getting a fight.
I see what you say.
Yes.
Okay.
But what does that say about us? Because you said Christians were at the heart of some bad treatment of Rasta, and
in the beginning, I think it changed.
In the beginning. Okay.
Because Christians tend to be very opposed to non-traditional forms of behavior. So, are you saying that Christians are protecting people while Rasta being discriminated against?
Right now, Christians are protecting those pretty close people.
Okay, attacking a code, but what is your point?
Yes, but I know that you understand the code.
Yes, I understand. I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about institutionalized discrimination, or so the Rasta elder is saying that the parts of the state charged with the responsibility and the duty to give equal treatment to all Jamaicans have singled out a group of Jamaicans, and when you look at it, there does seem to be some evidence of a continued history of oppression. And we're trying to understand what would account for it. It can be. I don't think if it were Christianity in the long ago days, it is no longer so, because we're talking about police, law and order, policemen who will profile you and say, because you look a certain way, you're inclined to this or that. We're trying to break that. That cannot be a continuing thing. And it does seem to be so.
All right. But you have any other thing you need to say, or we could go to the next call?
You could go on next call. I've got more, but I can't remember.
Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection.
Hello, Miss. Good morning.
Good morning, my dear.
To you and Pastor. I would like to say I congratulate you. And why I am saying that to you and the other people who are paying $15,000 to the poor people there because both you and them consider it poor to $15,000 weekly because when I hear say the minimum wage move from 7,000 to 9,000 as well, I put 7,000 is minutes.
That is true.
So
I tell you,
God bless you and others who are considering about people because when you're in the supermarket this minute, you look on the bigger mile, you can see 500 gram of them member, a 1,000 add feet. You look on Baccaraholic, a 1,000 add feet, one last come big milk of $600 when 9,000 can do. But God bless you and hope your store room and others who are paying $15,000 will never run dry because you know consider about poor people, you know.
Yeah.
And I would like to say, I would like this to go to find out of that $9,000 whether you save minimum wage and to if you must feed yourself out of it, family don't know what can go so.
Feed yourself, pay light bill, travel to work, bus fare, yeah, all of that. No, it's. My dear.
I cry this minute. One thing I say, all time people say, if duck no left pan a Facebook. You know, if you understand that frame there.
Oh, well, I'm learning it even as you say it, I'm visualizing it.
That means to say, when the pan dry out because duck love water, when the pan dry, the duck have to leave because no water no there again.
Indeed. One way or another, the duck will leave.
The duck have to leave.
Yes, because
so
duck
God
have to live.
be with you and Pastor and God bless you all and continue to keep up the good work. And I know that God will. I know that God have a crown for you laid up in here waiting for you for the good that you are keeping up and the good that you are doing to the poor people in this country. God bless you, ma'am.
God bless you too, ma'am.
Good.
Yes, good.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
So we get a new Jamaican proverb this morning.
Yes. If pan don't leave duck, how we go? If duck don't leave pan, the pan will leave the duck. One way or another, the duck is leaving. And you know, that's such a stark reality. People need to understand that. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Morning time.
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, just a contribute to what the lady said a while ago.
Yes.
It's really oppressive people, you know. And doing so with people now and frustrating the people now. Some of the people may look at easier way out, you know. And in a way, I'm going to look at easier way that we are now going on. You understand? And these people are reap so much money annually and quarterly, and they're not share it against the people. Why you are going to make so much billions of dollars every quarter and you not share it amongst the people? We're expecting to oppress the people themselves. You make sure investment and you want to return, yes, but good that man. Sure, most people them certainly and make certain people think easier people, basic things that people can survive and live.
And you know, what is terrible about this minimum wage issue is that for government to do the right thing and set it at the right place, that's not money coming out of their pocket, you know, that's setting a higher standard for the treatment of citizens in this country.
Right.
So for us not to be able to even make that decision and say, no, man.
But listen, it's a corruption. You see, that's something that they might try to stem corruption and they can't stem corruption, but people have to survive. Look here, when I say people have to survive, so people are going to be down ways. Just unfortunate, you know, me is one of the ones who are unfortunate. Somebody had tried to rob me, I tried to get to
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
The other day, what my niece, you know, my niece, a teacher seller, right? And she was being kidnapped in a taxi. And when I said taxi, and then rape it. Seeing, I think the wife is taxi going and if she was kidnapped, they don't come publicly now. But you just keep it away.
Yes.
And she kidnapped at gunpoint, drive all those long phone and so, and check her card. Other thing people are in the taxi.
Yes.
And then check her card, check her phone, and after her pin, and then put her money out her account.
Oh God.
You understand? So you see, we are prospering, the government, the politicians, them good, them have them body yard on them and wherever, them okay, so they can't chat them out for the crap, you know. And we just are this citizen, and we are feeling good, and we are going through all the station.
That's why
I'm not sure anything with the real quick. I have a friend living in my scheme, and them check a car, a 7-seater car, right? And you know what the guys, there was a guy in the back, a girl at the front, and a girl inside of the back seat. And when him going there, them driver, the guy in the back of a gun, and pull the gun, and then turn back the car. I now go to the exact spot they hold the car, and turn the car. And we then go with the car, them take with their money, take with their phone, put them out of the car. There was a girl in front of the car with the size, so she not give up her pin. And in driver with her, you know what them doing in the car? Them pull off the angle is to open the door, them put it
from
off
the
from
inside,
so they couldn't
so
come
you
out.
can't come out.
I want to my niece now. Them the child safety lock them put down so they can come up.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do, and you know that's why if we don't like step ahead of it and start take some decisions before things reach that point of desperation where there are no rules, we're not gonna be able to control it because our own people are gonna turn on us. Because as the lady say, no, if duck no leave pan, pan a go leave duck, the water go dry out. So when the water dry out and we all become animals to oh God, I can't even envisage it. So we're trying to stay a step of it before the communities break down to the point where we don't recognize one another now and we don't see each other as an opportunity to make, as Pastor said earlier, eat our food.
All of us are pray. All of us are pray our church. All of us are pray our church to the animals. And people have to survive. I'm not going to say anybody is right now.
Yes.
And that's not saying right. But people have to survive and if remember now. Just one minute there. It's a thief. Remember now. When a thief comes around, in a free mind now, emotion can lose your life too, you know. But you think at the time, you know. But it knows a possibility like where you can lose your life. So you can do the magic process. We come at you know. I'm volunteer like at the time. You don't get that, but get away and the plans we have.
Yes,
our money.
And you become the obstacle to his freedom.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for this.
You're welcome, brother. Start another call. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning, my sister.
Morning, sir.
Morning, how are you?
But they're good, man. I don't know if it's the fact or not. Social media with a fire at the market town. I didn't get it out to listen.
Ray Market in downtown Kingston.
Again?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, it's a Ray Market in Rollington town.
Yeah, man. But I have for a long while I'm concerned about how we market. Our market has been developed since the class slavery. Right? It's in the same condition that particular to the market. When you ever go to the market like that on a Tuesday or a Monday when very little activity is taking place and say the amount of this parliament or the place it's a recipe for a fire, you know, man. And I'm saying to myself, I mean, we can't so the people want to make a routine so come to survive, you know, man. So they come with a little boat stall and you know, political thing and everybody come and they sell in. No, the government can't come and get some partisan and build some parts for those people. You know, what is they doing? They're creating jobs for people, you know. And get some artists and build some stall and when they come there. They include that in the market fee. The market that $20 inside, $80 for the market and $20 will go towards maintain to pay for the stars. I think them are a nice because they can put them good in and things. And this whole attack board this and what is happening in this country?
That's a local government issue that's been taken care for a long time ago.
Some people are doing, some people are, but the overall thing is bad. Because I go to markets and down Carnation, you go up to a pin where they see dirty water run through the place.
But you know, earlier we were talking about this ongoing system where the people from above just take the output from below and carry it off to, you know, their better appointed places without caring about conditions of those who are laboring and producing. We see it happening every year. It's the same thing.
The food and the ground, I see water run. It's a great demand. I play again this, you know. It's a
So here, my brother, may I say something? Because this issue of the poor infrastructure in markets and so on is a recurring theme on this program. Many people call on it all the time. As we are talking about the 60 and 60, and whether we give it a name or not, can persons who live in the communities where these markets exist and where there's that kind of infrastructure, can it become a project that is driven by the community? Because you can advocate for resources to come into your local government or your area to fix a problem that is unsightly and unpleasant. You can.
And when they do it,
we need community ownership of it rather than we need somebody to own, making a project of it.
I do agree with that sentiment, but listen.
Yes.
This thing takes more than the community. It takes government.
But it's government that the president is doing the right thing.
What you need to do, you see, we need to put pressure on the government to do what they're supposed to do. That's what we're not doing, you know.
Yes, I'm just turning it. I'm turning it
Instead
into.
of us trying to fix the problem that the government is supposed to fix, we're supposed to put some pressure on the government.
So how do you put pressure, my brother? How do you put pressure?
on the government.
If community groups don't come together and say, all right, wherever they are meeting, we are going. Whatever we need is going to be done.
Nice,
Show up at the places where things are taking place. Give out your flyers to the vendors, because a lot of vendors are just looking for support to get these things done. They talk about it. They say we pay fees to use markets and the infrastructure is poor. I'm just trying to shift you from complaining about it into being a part of the effort that changes.
Advocacy and change.
What I'm saying, I don't consider myself.
You're complaining. We're complaining too.
Why? What I say, you know?
Yes.
A lot of people in this country have become hunter-gatherers.
We have become what? Hunters and gatherers?
Yeah, hunter-gatherers, yeah.
They hardly see anything of that. Anything, they don't see it when they walk on the street. They don't know that anything is wrong. The garbage, all in Portmore here, when they walk around the street and see the amount of garbage where people throw, they drink and they throw it in the gully and when you start the type of thing. We have become a nation of hunters together. Nobody sees anything. Nobody sees anything at all. Because I'm sure, you know, if those people that in the market and those of us who go to the market, it's like that would be demonstrate, we may come out in our numbers and demonstrate to the government that this man, you have to fix the market, you know, it can't be like this. You know.
Well, listen, man, there are many ways to get your projects going without having to demonstrate and behave in a certain way. But we have been talking about ownership at the community level. If there's such a thing in your place, let's organize and address it. Thank you, Conrad. That is the word. Organization. That is the word. We have to be organized in how we seek to bring resources to address the problems in our communities. And I'm trying to lift us from that place where we talk about it, we know it's wrong, we see that it's wrong, but now we start to organize ourselves into making that impact. All right. My brother, was there something else you wanted to say?
God bless the day. I fire don't break out of fire, you know, because when you go up there, you know,
ramshackle, and the body put penalty.
You cannot come out of that place easily, you know. The only thing that is going to see people from not dying up there, you know. They are the sea, they are running at the sea, you know.
Not the sea, also.
I'm telling you, man, we cannot have a system where the government neglects and say we must and collecting taxes. And some of our politicians go up there because I hear some of them talk about the best place to go and fish up by extra, you know.
Well,
they do one vision and them do, and they're poor quality individual little bit to be our politician, you know. Very poor quality individual. Because me personally, as a politician, I could have never feel comfortable to go to a place like El every day, go to meditation and a place or ramshackle. I would have found a way to make people fix the place, man.
Well, all right. Thank you, my brother. We're going to return to some of the issues. I have Senator Floyd Morris online. I've been trying to reach him earlier. So I'm going to have the conversation with him and then we can reopen the line so we can get back to business as usual, so to speak. Thank you very much. Senator Morris.
A pleasant good morning, Mrs. Floyd.
Good morning to you also.
Sir, how are you? Happy New Year to you, sir, even though it's in end of February.
I tell you.
Well, I have to echo that because, you know, I do wish you, I think I may have sent you greetings in the new year.
Yes, it did. I did see it on my message.
Yes, and that was Pastor Percival greeting you, by the way, because you were speaking to the producer, Mr. Lawrence, earlier on.
Right.
So it's Pastor Percival who was giving you the belated New Year greetings.
Okay.
So, Senator Morris, your baby has been born, but we don't see the regulations.
Yes.
What's happening there?
Well, the legislation is in effect and the regulations are approved in Parliament.
They have not yet published it because I've been trying to get a copy of it online and I haven't seen it.
The regulations?
The regulations, yes.
I don't know. The regulations were approved in October last year.
Yes.
So that's what we were saying.
And put in effect on the 14th
of February.
Yeah. So everything should have been in place by the 14th. So
yes, I don't see it in the Jamaica laws online, but I'm not going to let that disturb our conversation. Because
once the minister sets the effective date,
yes,
the law is in effect.
Yes.
So, the legislation will be in effect. Regulations will be in effect as well.
Yeah, they are. I agree with you 100%. And I don't want to start on a negative note, but the truth of the matter is, they should have it online so persons could know what the regulations say. The average citizen would know what's in the regulations so they could prepare their businesses and themselves for how it might affect things going forward. But I will rely on you to give me the highlights. What can I do today? How can I bring to life the privileges, the advantages, the provisions of the 2014 Act? What changes with the regulations now being in effect? What could a person do?
Well, this is what I call a transformational piece of legislation that seeks to facilitate the participation, inclusion, and non-discrimination of persons with disabilities in the broader Jamaican society. And it brings into sharp focus some key elements that are fundamental to the development of a person with a disability. For example, the issue of education. The legislation frowns upon an institution that discriminates against a person with disability and mandates that educational and training institutions have to put in place facilities to accommodate persons with disabilities. And then the whole issue of employment, because you train up someone with disability, you educate someone with a disability, they need employment for survival. And the Act makes provisions for persons with disabilities to not be discriminated against in the labor market, and that provisions ought to be made for these individuals to be included. Then you take into consideration the issue of health care. That is another major issue for persons with disabilities. Most persons with disability have some form of underlying health condition, and this legislation ensures that the persons with disabilities are not discriminated against in the context of healthcare. And then you have the whole issue of housing, how persons with disabilities are to be treated in the housing sector, where reasonable accommodation are to be made for these individuals. For example, if adjustments are to be made for a wheelchair user, building of a ramp and adjustment of bathrooms to accommodate the persons, what are the steps, what are protocols that must be followed?
I have a question. It is of concern to me how accessible these procedures and systems are to even disabled persons themselves. Would a disabled person need to have someone advocating for them in order to access the benefits and the procedures under the regulations, or is it done in such a way that they can advocate for themselves?
Certainly. It is done in such a way that they can advocate for themselves. For example, where the board, the legislation makes provision for a board to establish for the governance of the New Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, and notice that the New Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities. Back to that before we end. And on the board, it makes provision for individuals with disabilities themselves to be included on the board, and where that is not possible, then individuals with disability can be appointed on representatives for individuals with disability can be appointed on the board. But also, if a person with a disability can bring directly complaints to the JCPD if their rights are being violated by themselves. And if the matter has to do with the JCPD, the law makes the provision for persons with disabilities themselves to the public vendor. So,
that is an important development.
Inclusive of persons with disabilities.
That was a concern that I have. I'm also curious to understand how the law requires and monitors this inclusion of technology, whether it is having interpreters, having devices that are available in public spaces and maybe even in places of employment, to ensure that there is real inclusion of persons with disability. Are there any provisions that speak to that?
All right, the law does a couple of things.
Yes.
First and foremost, the law makes provision for codes of practice to be established by the JCPD to guide in the prevention of discrimination against persons with disability.
The general public?
Yeah, and this is mandatory now. This is not permissive. It's not saying they may. It says they may, or?
I think it is mandatory.
Right, I hope it is.
Yes, I think, and I know already they have developed some of the codes, right? And these codes take into consideration and provision issue of accessibility and comes with it technology, right? Yes. Now, when you look at the definitional section of the law, it defines some critical terms, and one of them is access, and access speaks to information and access speaks to benefits as well as it speaks to facilities. Now, you have also another aspect of the definitional section which speaks about reasonable arrangement.
Yes, and undue burden.
Yes, and it also speaks about universal design. Now, these are some critical concepts that, links the legislation to assistive and modern technologies for persons with disabilities, because the law anticipates that in order for persons with disabilities to be meaningfully included in society, technology will have to play a pivotal role. And so, the issue of technology is a major part of the legislation.
Senator Voice, a child with disability, she's deaf and hard of hearing. And recently, somebody reached out to her because she gone through the high school system, university, and somebody's at our high school. Under law, will schools now, high school, be compelled if somebody like is deaf and hard of hearing and they pass for that school, that if they request an interpreter, does the law provide for that in terms of the government having to foot that customer responsibility?
Well, the law doesn't say specifically that the government must foot the bill, but the government is responsible for all. Well, put it this way: wherever there is a public institution, it is anticipated that if a person with a disability, whether it be blind or deaf, is included in that institution, that the government will have to take responsibility for those services that are being provided. And, again, you have the education code that the law is very explicit on, that codes of practice as we established for education would cover issues of services for hearing impaired individuals who are hard of hearing and deaf.
So based on what you said, there is registered with the council. They're having a problem. So is it referred to the Ministry of Education, or they go to the council and the council works in terms of helping that person get necessary services that are needed?
Well, how the law anticipates, if the person with a disability has a problem, then they go to the council.
Right.
And the council conducts the necessary investigation. And one of the things that I must point out that is going to be absolutely necessary, and have to, I'm imploring all the media houses to encourage parents, friends, relatives, brothers and sisters to get their relatives with disabilities registered with the Jamaica Council of Persons with Disabilities. Because it is in registering with the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities that you are going to know how many persons with disabilities are out there, where they are, and to be able to plan effectively for the individual. If you don't know how many persons with disabilities are in the society, you don't know how many persons with disabilities are young people versus those who are elderly, you just cannot plan effectively. And I'm encouraging family members. Now is not the time to be bashful. Now is not the time to be shy. Now is not the time to be ashamed. Step forward boldly and embrace your relative with a disability and make sure that you get them registered and get them in the system. I have a disability and I wear it with a badge now because I never went to the shop and bought blindness. Nobody goes to the supermarket and purchase deafness. Nobody goes to any store and purchase a physical disability. And so we must step out, lay claims to the skills that we have made through this legislation and other services, and we are going to be fighting for moving on. As long as breath is in my body, I am going to continue to fight for betterment for people with the disabled population of Jamaica.
Let me ask you a question, Senator. How easy is it to be registered? Could you just give us the bare bones of it, because we would like to join in answering your call.
I have battled with the government and the JCP about over the years, because, there is a form that individuals have to complete, but it requires verification from medical professionals to indicate that yes, there is a disability. So, say for example, I'm blind and I complete the form. I have to get a medical person to complete a form to say that I am blind.
Right? Who bears that cost?
There you go. The person with the disability.
Come on.
And this is where I have had my battle with them. The government have responded by saying that this is a matter they can get it done in the public service.
Can't.
But I tell you,
You can't because
know how the waiting hours in the public health sector. The stress that has been brought on the city largely due to the pandemic.
Senator, we've just gone through seeing government action handling the pandemic, and also seeing government action trying to find students who have not reported for school. Is there any possibility of your being able to organize a null drive where the public health department goes into the communities and do that assessment and registration of persons with disabilities? Because outside of that, perhaps a lowering of the standard regarding the type of confirmation, because the confirmation can be evident.
What I say to that, any measure to push the registration of persons with disabilities would be most welcome. What I know it is going to be very a person with disabilities. Of course,
that's the point because Senator, from my daughter, and I'm just speaking the real experience. I think we have one audiologist in Jamaica. There's who's president, people, and she has to go and see a specialist, ENT specialist, who she checks with. And to see that specialist to just her do this is a significant amount of money, because I don't know of the persons like that in the public health system we can really access. So again, you put a law in place and you put an obstacle in place for persons without means to get that done. And I say, come on, the government has to do better. They're saying that, the public health system is overburdened, public resource. And so I'm making a call publicly.
I am certain, and I suggested this in a debate on the regulation in the Senate, that the government should set aside some funds and forge some collaboration with the private sector, where they could complete it, because the form that they are completing, right? They could complete the form of the disability for a reduced fee. Some of these services that are required, some of these verifications are required, are not provided by government services. The examination and determination of persons with intellectual disabilities. Michael Care is one of the government institutions that does that sort of assessment. But I don't think they have a long line.
May I shift conversation a little bit, because it is a lot to cover, and I want to get as much through as possible. I think we are in agreement with you, Senator, that some cooperation with the private sector is needed to ensure that the family of disabled persons, that we have a sense of how many, where they are, and what the disabilities are. But the rights that they enjoy and the rights conferred on them by the legislation does not require registration as a part of accessing those rights. It is registration is a planned tool, but regardless of whether they are registered or not, when they show up to access these rights, it's theirs by virtue of statute and by virtue of the Constitution. So my question to you now is this: are you aware of any effort being mounted to fund the preparation of public and private spaces so that they can be brought in compliance with the Act? And what crosses my mind is, what does we are trying to... you have an answer. You have an answer. Go ahead.
I am not a part of the administration at the moment. I couldn't say to you or nay in that on the particular score, right?
Do you anticipate a need for something? I'm asking, do you anticipate a need? I mean, do you see persons being frustrated because spaces are not really ready for them? There was in the news some report about the wheelchair at the House of Parliament. And I suspect that...
I think you're going to see over time. I think you're going to see over time the changes being made. Right?
What time saying?
Changes being made over time. They are subject to what we call progressive realization.
And adaptation.
I hope that within another 5 years, we can do an evaluation and see a marked improvement in the Jamaican society. And this means, because sister legislation to the Disability Act is the Building Act, which has the code. And that will, that is already in it. It is parish councils to implement the legislation. Make sure that you will have the requisite access feature. So I'm thinking a 5-year period for us to do a reasonable assessment and say, all right, this is where we're at, this is where we're coming from. I can tell you we are around zero. Around zero. I published an article, for example, in an international journal in 2019 entitled Accessible and Inclusive City and Kingston, Jamaica Journal. And Kingston has been raised, right? So if we if we look now down the road in another, say by 20, let's work with the sustainable development goals. If I would say by 2030, we should have a better sense
of where we are.
To where we are.
Yes. My last question to you, Anita, because I do thank you for fitting us in because we missed our start, but we have recalibrated nicely. I just want a statement from you. What is it that makes you hopeful that Jamaicans will actually get to an acceptable level of compliance? Is there anything that's giving you hope?
Well, we are conditioned from a policy framework to a legislative framework. And if you look at how the law is configured, it puts in place some institutional mechanisms to guide and ensure implementation. So you have the new JCPD, which is going to be a body corporate. They are
in place, sir? New one.
It is going to be a body corporate, being that it has to correspond and it is not going to be a kind of interest by social authority. It will get it to the government. So it's not like it's an independent government, but they will be able to make decisions on their own and see, etc. And services are expected to improve in that context. And then you have the DRE, the Disability Rights Tribunal, which is the institution that has been mandated in the law to advocate on impact discrimination against persons with disabilities. And persons with disability now, the part of the action, they experience the disability, they carry the complaint to the JCPE, the law mandate that the JCPE have to in a particular way, whether they are going to go to alternative food resolution or to the Disability Rights Tribunal. And that gives me hope that we're going to see changes because it's an action-oriented piece of legislation.
All right. Well, that actually gives me hope. And I thank you so much for contributing to our understanding of what is indeed a transformative piece of legislation. We're going to work on the ground now to get the society fall in line. Thank you so much, Senator.
Thank you very much.
Look forward to speaking to you again.
Yes, ma'am.
And thank you so much for it. When I look at regulations, I will have another conversation with you. Until then, do have a wonderful day. Thank you. Yes, we can reopen the last. I think
this is my art and my children.
Yes.
And impatient.
I do like the fact that it is structured so that persons can make a complaint on their own behalf. It ought to be so. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection.
Yeah, good morning, Miss Nett.
Morning, sir.
Yeah, blessed good man, man. Blessed good man.
I just justice.
Yeah, it's a good thing because if you family probably I think help me the blessing, because individually people now tell them about his man living in like past already. In Skype, so I tell them about 2 weeks ago, just have to carry a month or two.
That's what you want to change.
Yes, it has value.
If they give them no know it, when small and go all them pass through and them I'm not thinking them no so they don't get that decision like me.
Yes.
I believe you from the two things like you. Yeah, I'm going to watching the business people and probably I'm to what in a direct and it you understand?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so let's think on so I will give chance and this now but this market it's don't the market,
Yes, is it Riri? Where's that? Riri Market.
It's not really Riri Market.
Okay, in fact, it is the Rollington Town Fire Department that responded, right?
Yes, and they have to run down so yes, yeah, man. So I read it them in every community, you know. I write to love you to teach people about love and of him, man. You them to a calmer spirit and loving mind. And when they are rich, and so I think that because I didn't learn anything,
okay.
So like anything, you know, God word is power. Understand? And when you use the word, and by the man should use by the word of God. Understand? So we have to do them to tell you them because them and compare in righteousness and love and peace.
True.
And that's how you use them go to master. So I don't know if I'm so.
No, we don't forget to media and take care for you, all right?
Yeah, man.
Righteousness, bless you. Go.
Okay, yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
As I was saying, this piece of legislation is very close to my heart because I know the struggles my daughter and other people who have not just been put behind as a boy. You come here. And it has to be beyond the parents who are pushing. It has to be the government of structure that enable and facilitate people. As a member of the JT family and a sister works with the black community, to get a doctor to authenticate
that's nonsense.
It's that you're so, and even for intellectual disabilities.
Yeah. Well, but you see, here's the thing, and one of the reasons why I didn't want us to get to belabor the point too much is because registration is not a requirement of entitlement or benefit. It's not. It can't be. I mean, it's a planning tool, and you have.
That's caller.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you, sir. How are you?
I'm not very further in the program.
Oh, welcome.
Where from, sir?
In Westmoreland and Granger.
All right.
Grange Hill.
Welcome, sir.
We have a long listener in Grange Hill. There's a blind man in Grange Hill that is our friend.
Yes, sir. Morning.
No, yeah, so I'm not sure if I'm going to get Mr. Friend, but you know, like we all stress out. I mean, you listen to other program and get better days.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much. Well, I said it's been solved. I don't know what was happening last week, but you know, it's radio signals we use, and sometimes it can fail for one reason or another.
Yeah. Something we don't get. Something we don't get. 1.5, 1.3. We never get anything. No, I don't get it.
So 0.3 and 0.5 not working. What signal are you checking us on now?
No,
oh, you just call us. Oh, all right. All right. Well, I'll certainly pass the word on. Let us repeat it. Grange Hill, Westmoreland, not getting any signal at all. They usually get on 0.3 and 0.5. All right. So, what do you want to talk to us about this morning? All right. Oh, Lord. All right, sir. We'll put the word out. Thank you so much for letting us know.
Thank you very much.
Have a blessed day. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning, Miss Ines. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
Good morning.
First time calling.
From where?
Thank you. Listening to people that are very interesting.
We call you from the lady, if you don't mind telling us.
Simply.
Okay.
Santos.
All right. We'll call you Santa Cruz lady.
Yeah, I don't know, Miss Ines. I understand. Hello?
Yes,
we're
waiting on your question.
Okay, yeah. NWC.
Yeah.
Applying for water from them and soil on the property, but they left back door. And they're saying that it has to pay up before the new owner can get it.
Oh, so you purchased the land, or you're just
no. No, it was way of my sister.
Yes. Well, you know, one of the protections the NWC enjoy is that water services delivered to the land. They run with the land, meaning it's like taxes. Whoever take over the land, take over the responsibility for the bills. Sometimes they will negotiate with you if it is a really big sum. And really, when you take over the land, a part of your responsibility is to ensure that the outgoing person has cleared whatever. Yes. So is it a very large sum?
Yeah, it's simply something.
Yeah, that is good money. You have to try and negotiate with them, see what they can do, or if you can find the person who created the liability.
They are not paid because they did not even pay because when asked about before they left, they were denying that there wasn't.
There wasn't, yes, but all the time there was an account there.
Right.
Yeah, I decided that you have to negotiate with them. How old is the bill? Because sometimes it's statute bar and they couldn't even sue for it.
I think they said it's from 2017.
Oh, so it's not yet statute bar.
Okay.
Okay, and that.
Depending on the 2017, if you can get them out and if you can, I won't say more. Let me statute bar.
Also, you have to like whole lot of time.
Is it 6 years? 6 or 7 years?
Okay.
10 years.
Madam Santa, anything else on your mind?
But I'm trying to call it.
Yes, tell them it's statute bar, and since they can't suffer, they need to make a deal with you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Right, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you, my brother?
I'm just here. First out of the place I know.
If it started.
Council.
Oh no! In fact, he didn't. What he says that it will be. So we know it never started. What he was saying indicated that. Yes. Yeah. You have to reassess. He knows that it is not a quick thing. You have Are you advocating for any person with disability? Well, no. The producer saying you might be unable, but not disabled.
All right.
No, in fact, I was very careful to try and highlight that. No, that is what is happening. You have seen that happen, where persons are not getting because they're not registered with the council. Yeah, well, let us make it clear. Let's make it clear. So I want to make it clear, my brother, and you should understand it as well. Law does not require registration. Registration is being promoted as a tool to enable effective planning. That's the law. So if government or the council itself is saying I can't represent you unless you're registered, or anyone is blocking access to the benefit because you're not registered, that in itself is discrimination and it is unlawful. And it's good for people to know that. If you're registered all good and well, it makes certain things easier. But registration is not a requirement for you to access the benefits of the law. Right? Okay. All right, my brother, use that for your right. So, we're going to take a station break now because we're gone past the 9:30 hour.
Thank you, Carl.
All right, thanks, brother.
We might not.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2¼ Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
3, believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
We're committed to reducing the impact of disasters occurring in Jamaica. We're ever ready to assist you before, during, and after a disaster. But everybody have a role to play, so make we work together and follow the plan. Whether rich or poor or where you come from, hurricanes affect everyone, so be prepared. Prevention is better than cure. Prepared. Listen to ADPEM. A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Splash FM. Keep listening.
You to create your own group to accomplish something for yourself, for your community. That's what we are encouraging you to do.
I want to see some pressure group build up in this country. Just like how
We're going to take another call because we're not.
All right, so from the pressure group, I think from a pressure group to put more. The government will listen to you.
And we support you in that effort because if you're part of what we're trying to spark, then you have our support. All right, brother. Thank you. All right, let me just give some love to people online. Some about very serious medicine, man.
Good morning. Welcome, caller.
Morning, Pastor.
Good morning.
sir.
Morning,
Yes.
Let's hear from you.
Christian, the minimum wage, who sit down and sit down and create these figures that people can survive?
You actually said that, and we don't know. We know there's a minimum wage advisory group and their recommendations, and it's supposed to bring people from the different sectors that have to pay, like security people. Because first, Salva was came from the security group and saying 9,000. Oh, that's where they have agreed on. And people said, yeah.
So, Paul, do you think it reflects reality?
No, this is fine. The pilot, that person, well, that person are really. But those people have done something, I should have done. These people are here to relate. But they are not, but that's not that to appear. I do not pay rent. No matter what I'm paying. You know, feel like that people want to come in the And when I go to supermarket, I pick up snacks for a new person watching TV. When I pick up all the snacks, like I told her, up to you remember Mike Henry, told us that Matt Lynn Squad. Yes, we take out to me and like he to teaching for a job. I will came back, I was to teaching French, administration, education. Obviously, we are not people. Don't tell me on people. So now we're going to take away poor people from there. So it's one people. We need to do something, man. Can't hurt every day. I just look up our friend. I'm telling you with so text. But I'm just everything and I'm in traffic. I'm no. We have 2 people and obviously I've done nothing. But these people cannot educate and we are past it to us. I know the train 2 people I'm going to work for this and jump. So every second and jump. Mr. Lands, the police out there, and a part, she 1 million, my colleague, extra people, cash company, crime going up. These police out to me out.
Yeah, that's a solution.
Everything, I will not be nothing. I know this. You can't train police if I commit crime. I had my opportunity to have a separate gun. Every cat out of the camera. All those 6 years to start, we send me money for the the push back the this man. We need to take back Jamaica. PNP don't mean nothing good.
Agree, my brother.
We agree now. So what you're saying, so what you're saying, we come to the break, we come into the close of the program actually, my brother. There's one more call. The question that we're asking you, you're being vocal. What are you going to do in terms of doing something about it? Now, can do.
You never do no promotion. You will never ever put the hand in not okay. And about it, I will walk up to put this number. You never know promotion. Have a best day.
All right, thank you.
Good morning, welcome to Morning Connection.
Morning,
good day. Our friend, what's up?
I'm going to be here, you know. I'm going to go to the huh?
Where do you have that vision?
First night.
Okay, all right. You see a change happening.
You see a full change. Yeah.
Let me prove it.
Why do we really want change now? Let's say, when they make that one, I'm going to go to the country. Let's say anyone going to win. You know what? Let's go back to the zone. Pack up over there. I say, yourself the queen.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
we know that.
That's the change that we want to
So the people of Jamaica. That's what the change needs to happen, that we come together over and say, survey the people of Jamaica. And that is a shift in focus in mentality, because it means everything that you're doing, you are thinking first about the people of Jamaica, how to make their lives better.
Yes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we know like players and them on new slave master. You can plan the year going new slave master. 7,000
It's not 9.
And then now you come after 4 years, you put 2,000.
Yeah.
And then start you
yeah.
So now ask Jamaica people know. You know, interested in working for the ball again. The one that want right the land. Jamaica people do right to own land in Jamaica, own the land. What you have done in Jamaica?
All Jamaicans, my brother. But I suspect you need what you're talking about something slightly different.
We need legislation done. We have the right to own the land. We have the right to own our home. People have no right to own a woman by the street. Rent house. My tell the people to be rent down at 25 street. That's why they want to get why they told them I call squad.
Okay. All right.
And that is not